This week has nearly come and gone, but sadly, unlike my patients, these losers are still with us. Many of you know we shoot this show in Nashville, Tennessee, which was once the home of country music, but is now more like a hodgepodge of Californians, pop star crossovers, woke radio and music industry executives, and artists who claim to sing country music, but also loathe country music's actual fans. And the mayor of that school of thought is, of course, Maren Morris. When she's not picking fights with artists who actually sell concert tickets, she's guest judging on untucked drag shows and then apologizing for the genre of music she pretends to represent.
And coming from country music and its relationship with like LGBTQ plus members, I just want to say I'm sorry and I love you guys for making me feel like a brave voice in country music. So I just thank you guys for inspiring me. I'm gonna cry, I need to go.
Okay, so first of all, Maren, not only are you not the spokesperson for country music or country music fans, you will certainly not apologize on our behalf. Country music, especially in the last several years, has rolled out the freaking red carpet for all things woke, and especially for gays. Just because your average country fan prefers cowboy boots to penis-compressing underwear doesn't mean country music or country fans have done anything to attack the LGBTQ community. Unless you consider opposing child castration, pedophile grooming, and children petting adult genitalia to be an attack, then we can't help you there. Maren Morris is a bully, plain and simple. She makes her money off the back of country fans and then turns around and belittles us at every turn so she can grift off the back of the LGBTQ movement as well. There are a lot of things Maren can apologize for, but country music isn't one of them. But speaking of attention-seeking clowns, loser number 2 this week is not Prince Harry or even Meghan Markle. It's the people who will not stop obsessing over these two and clogging our timelines and our ear holes with gossip about them. We don't freaking care. They're inconsequential to us. For the love of God, shut up about them. You know, we won a pretty big war in 1783, so we wouldn't have to give a hoot about what the royals did, and yet some of you won't let it go. They are both narcissistic, grifting hacks, and if you'd stop giving them so much energy, they'd go away. So please, please, enough. All right, I'm done. My final loser of the week is this new up-and-coming solution the hippie community has brain-farted to ruin our lives: beetle meat. First, it was the vegetarian lifestyle, then it was vegan, then it was tofu, then soy, then impossible Beyond Meat, and now it's freaking bugs. This concept is as straightforward as it is repulsive: grinding up mealworms, adding some sugar and salt, and calling it a burger. Now, the green community says this is the way to go because bugs use less land, water, and have a smaller carbon footprint than cows, chicken, and fish humans have been consuming since the dawn of time. Furthermore, let me add, why aren't these activists concerned with mealworm lives? Are bugs not animals too? You know, I think the bugs and worms of the world would be pretty damn offended to know their lives don't matter to you. Tisk tisk. But this is leftist progress, folks. Take a Ripley's Believe It or Not challenge and make it to food to save the planet and the animals that have been inhabiting it, again, since the dawn of time. So let me just put this out there for the record. There are a few things in life I will never do. Getting the COVID vaccine is one, and eating mealworms disguised as a burger is another. So screw your fake meat and screw your worms. Those are my losers of the week. Joe wasn't in the top 3 this week, but he's not out of mind because, Joe, you've always got a spot on my list. Roll it. You know, I'm honestly just shocked he could get back up. My next guest is a former NBA star who is no stranger to controversy. He sacrificed his lucrative professional basketball career to stand up for human rights and against oppression. True oppression, not the domestic terror group BLM's feigned money-making mockery of oppression. But now not only is his sports career in jeopardy, but his life. Enes Kanter Freedom claims the Turkish regime has placed a $500,000 bounty on his head and added his name to a most wanted list. Here with more is the man himself, Enes Kanter Freedom. All right, Enes, I follow you on social media, so when I saw this, I almost thought it was a meme. I didn't think that it could possibly be serious, but you got to tell me, how did you learn about this and what is going on?
So I was actually not in America when I heard the news for the first time. I was in Vatican doing a basketball camp for Christian, Catholic, Muslim, and Jewish kids. And I remember right after the basketball camp, I heard about the news and I got in touch with FBI and some of my friends on the ground immediately. And the first thing they said, come back to America at this moment. So I bought a ticket the next day and I landed in America. My name was on that most wanted terrorist list in Turkey just because of I talk about some of the human rights violations and political prisoners in Turkey. But this was the first time actually Turkish government put in a bounty on my head. So this was unbelievable. I just couldn't believe it because when I had a conversation with some of my friends on the ground, they said this is going to trigger the mafia, the professional hitmen, even serial killers and cartels. So I just cannot believe a foreign country put in an American citizen life on risk in US soil. This is unacceptable.
Well, it's definitely unacceptable, but I have to wonder about this bounty. Is it something that the Turkish government actually puts out there and broadcasts, or is it something that
Yes.
you found out in another way? So they just explicitly said, he's a wanted man, we have a bounty on his head.
I actually posted that link. It was a Turkish government link. And the thing is, I'm not the only one that on that list. There are other, journalists, athletes, celebrities, professors, innocent people are on that list. So if you're in Turkey, that if you are say anything against the government or Erdogan's regime, you're gonna be in jail the next day. But if you're outside of the country, right, you say anything against it or you tweet anything against it, they're gonna put your family in jail and they're gonna do whatever they can to shut you up. So for me, I was like, you know what, this is bigger than myself, so I have to stand up for those innocent people.
It's wild because, every time we talk to you, and I was so happy to see you at the Fox Nation Patriot Awards. It was such a powerful moment, by the way. But we talk about everything going on in this country with the social justice movements, the activists, this and that. And now you're somebody who actually is a wanted man because you've been able to speak out and you gained a platform with doing so. But what has our government, what has the FBI, the CIA, the American government been able to do for you since hearing about this?
Good, really good, quick question. First of all, whenever I had a conversation with FBI, they told me to not to, leave America at least the next couple of months. But, I just want, whenever I had a conversation with some of my friends in the Congress or Senate, they're trying to do best they can to bring awareness. But I just want one thing. I just want Biden administration to be tough on these dictatorships, because Erdogan or this dictators in Middle East are using this diplomacy. So I really want the Biden administration and our government to be tough on these people, on these dictatorships, because they are using it. So I'm an American citizen. People knows my story because I did play in NBA. But there are so many stories out there. Their situation is way worse than mine. So I hope the President Biden or his administration is going to take, actions immediately.
Well, I hope so as well. And again, I'm so glad that you're here in the U.S. and that you've got some safety here, but I'm sure you're always looking over your shoulder. Last question for you. Have you heard from any of your former teammates since announcing? You haven't heard anything? Nobody even sent, not even a message to you?
That's the one thing that breaks my heart. It's been almost 9 months. I have not heard anything from them. I used to call them, I used to call them my brothers, not even my teammates. They were my biggest supporter. Whenever I started to talk about China, whenever I started to criticize Nike, it all stopped. Even with this bounty, I get messages, hundreds of messages from different people, but I was like, you know what, God, please just one of my teammates, one of my coaches, which I had hundreds of them in 11 years that I played in the league. Please, just one of them just text me and say, hey, man, I hope you're doing okay. Unfortunately, not one of them texted me. And that is the one thing that breaks my heart because Tomi, I am not a bad guy. I talk about the human rights violations and political prisoners in my country. And that is making me a bad guy. I'll take it, I don't understand why all of a sudden now all my teammates, NBA and people in, I guess, sports world turning their back on me. You can watch all my interviews, read all my op-eds. till this day, I have not said anything about politics. All I cared about was human rights around the world and political prisoners. For that reason, it just makes me a bad guy. And they even started to unfollow me on social media. But I was like, you know what? I'm still gonna pray for them. Oh well.
Well, that's a great message. I'm really sorry to hear that, but you know, because you saw it at the Patriot Awards and everybody saw you there, and we're so proud of you, and we're so happy to have you as a part of our extended Fox family. And, you know, you're an American, and we love you, we care about you, and I hope that you know that there are so many Americans that are thinking about you, especially now. So please stay safe, and thank you for spending the time to talk with me today.
Huge thanks, Tommy. You're the best.